Hey everyone, it's Ivan with KitBadger.com, here to bring a gear review, and today we were talking about the ProComp Muzzle Brake by SureFire. I cut my teeth in the Marine Corps on an M16A2, which was equipped with a A2 bird cage. Affectionately called a bird cage because of all these ports up top, kind of makes it look like a little cage. And while it did a great job, arguably, at helping with flash, it didn't do much with respect to reducing felt recoil and shooting flatter so you could get faster follow-up shots. And as I moved on, got out, started getting my own weapons, I was looking around and I was actually really hesitant on spending the money on a muzzle brake. So I was like, what for? I kind of fell into the camp of, it's a 223, 5.56, like there's no recoil anyway, I don't need that. But then I was like, well, maybe I do, and I'd like to try it. So eventually made the plunge and ended up going through a bunch of different muzzle devices after that. I've used a bunch of different muzzle brakes. Ultimately, they're all using the same principle. You're porting gases out the side and in turn trying to drive the rifle straight back as opposed to have the muzzle kick up. Honestly, most of them work pretty good. Problem being, everything's a trade-off. So in doing that and porting the gases out the side, one, usually end up with pretty good fireball coming out the end. And two, the other issue, all that concussion is going over to the sides and it's pretty rough on the people on either side, to include yourself if you're in any type of enclosed space, like moving through a house, some sort of structure, gets pretty rough on that end. This ProComp is a great little brake. It essentially uses the same geometry as SureFire's muzzle brake, the one using for mounting their SOCOM suppressors, but it doesn't have all the extra machining back here and in turn comes at a better price. As you can see, it has these ports here as well as these top ports, vent all that gas. And then this one, unlike their muzzle brake, is timed with a crush washer rather than shims, which is way easier. And then on the bottom here, there's a pre-drilled hole. What this allows is if you have a 14-inch barrel, you can go ahead, time this, drill that out, and then pin and weld it, bringing your 14.5-inch barrel to the legal length of 16 inches. And the whole thing is covered in this nice black melanite. Of course, the real question is, how's this muzzle brake perform? So we'll go ahead and put some rounds through this guy with this A2 bird cage and use that as kind of a baseline and go from there. Just put a string of rounds on there with the A2 bird cage. Funny story, not funny. I was like, wow, this is really loud. It was because I didn't have ear pro on, which made for incredibly loud string of rounds. But now we'll go ahead using this ProComp, gas this guy up and get another string of rounds on there. So does this prove anything conclusively? Absolutely not. I will say, in my experience, rifles with muzzle brakes, they're just more pleasant to shoot. Being behind them, maybe not so much to either side of them. And as far as muzzle brakes go, I've used a bunch of different ones, Lantac, PWS, SureFire obviously, the ProComp, and I think a couple other ones maybe too. In my experience, they all work roughly the same. And maybe that's my immaturity as a shooter, but I haven't found this huge gap as far as one outshining the other with respect to how well they work. I will say certain ones are really rough to be on the side of and a lot of concussion, but been really pleased with this ProComp. And same design's been used on all their SureFire muzzle brakes for their suppressors mount up and everything like that, and it's a great design. Plus, this one, as far as price-wise, pretty good price point. You can get them all different places, about 53 bucks pretty much everywhere you look, from Bravo Company, Rainier Arms, DSG Arms, Midway. Find somewhere that has them in stock, order one up. Give it a try. As always, thanks for joining us at KitBadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.